Well, hello and welcome to Beyond the Sermon, a Bethany podcast where we have the privilege of digging deeper into our Sunday messages. I'm Tammy DeLau, and today I'm joined with Pastor David Bexley and Pastor Steve Musto, who is wearing something a little different than we usually see.
Oh yeah, I'm not as dressed up today, but there's a reason for that.
Okay.
And it's because today is opening day for the Cubs.
Okay, there you go.
And this, once again, could be the year they win it all.
Well, if we're in heaven.
Some backing behind that right now.
It's possible.
It's actually happened once now.
It is possible. I mean, you referred to that when you were talking about heaven.
You're right.
So there you go.
Heaven is the place where the Cubs win World Series every year.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. Awesome. Well, let's jump in. I want to talk about last week's sermon.
Okay.
So, okay. So I loved last week your NT Wright quote that he, especially with being sick right now, plans to go to heaven, but doesn't plan to stay there. I thought that was really good. Yeah. And as much as I know that, because just of the studying that I've done, I think somehow we forget about the new heaven and the new earth part, because especially I spent a week with an aging mom, and so I find myself thinking about the end, not only of her life, but of my life, and think about heaven and escaping, being in God's presence, which I know you've all challenged us with, but not having to deal with the yuck that's here, but realizing that there will be a time when here doesn't have the yuck and will be sweet.
Yeah, and for me, it makes what makes sense is knowing God as a creator God, that God doesn't, push the old TNT plunger down on Earth and blow it up, and that's the end of Earth. He created it, and He is remaking it. That's the image that we're presented with. So, which is great. I mean, it's sort of the ultimate recycling, right? I mean, God is He's not wasting this creation.
He's green. He's so green.
He's the ultimate in green, by the way. But it's a beautiful picture of here's this great thing that God created that got ruined because of sin, and that He has repaired it. And there's a repair that has happened, but one day it'll be restored.
It's good.
We were talking about that in our Grow group too. And what I loved about that idea is it reminded me, well, God doesn't destroy me either and start over.
Yeah.
That's the gospel. The whole gospel is renewal. I'm broken.
Good,
Sin
David.
has broken me. And God's not up there like, take the grenade and I'll just go create a new David that's better. He's like, I'm going to heal this. True. I'm going to form this. And we're in the middle of the healing right now. Right. And then heaven's the ultimate renewal, the ultimate healing, the restoration. And so earth gets it and we get it.
Yeah.
That's to me another beautiful thing that comes out of that picture.
Fantastic.
So I know you had challenged us that the church that this was written to, life was hard. And so they were looking forward to it being over and then something to look forward to. For us, we kind of like life here, and we have more fear about what is to come. And so that was really challenging. Sometimes I think, you didn't use this phrase, but I think we expect heaven now. We want what we think all the good things of heaven are going to be this side of eternity. And so then we're so discouraged when it's not. And so there's almost an entitlement or an expectation. And so I was challenged years ago with looking at things as splashes of heaven, knowing that heaven isn't here. And so you kind of talked about those things that we experience now that just, we say, thank you. This is so good and so sweet. So
and there are pieces of that. I wish I was more of a nature person. I have friends who they find glimpses of the Lord in nature, and it's remarkable. And my sister is that way. My wife is that way. And it's not so much for me. I wish I have to force myself to really enjoy nature and enjoy what God has made. And it just comes easily to them. But there's a piece of that. Yesterday it was a beautiful day, and walking to my car was this celebration of, wow, God, it's really easy to glorify you and praise you as a wonderful creator right now in this moment, because it's 70 degrees and the sun is in my face.
Yes.
And recognizing God in those moments, that is a piece of eternity, and that's who our God is.
Yeah. So what are those splashes for you?
Oh man, that's a great question. I'm more like Steve. Even when I'm out in nature, that's not where I wish I could see God. I've got siblings that they can see that.
Yeah.
And I wish I could, but to me, it's moments of either with God or even with people of relational connection.
Mm-hmm.
It just, I talked about this a little bit in the week before of just relationship. I mean, ultimately heaven is reminding us of God's desire to ultimately just dwell with us and for us to dwell with each other and like, we're just together. And so for me, getting together with friends and laughing and smiling and feeling the closeness and unity that comes out of Amy and I on a date, like even those type of things, like all of those, to me, those are the glimpses of chaos is gone. And we're just in this moment of community. And not only that, we get to do that with God. Oh my goodness. Like it just those are those moments for me.
Yeah.
So the moments that you used, I was like, yeah, like family time, being on vacation with one another, being in a beautiful place. And then I'm like, man, am I tainted? Because even though we have an amazing family and we have so much fun, there's big personalities, children don't take naps, people start to fight. And so it's tainted really quick. The splashes are tainted really, really quick. And so it's easy to, I don't want to say be cynical, but almost, I feel like I'm always waiting for the shoe to drop. Like when it does feel like those splashes, like, oh wait, what's going to happen that's going to wreck this?
Do you want to name the children and grandchildren who most ruin it right now on the podcast?
Well, I could. Like, no, I wouldn't. No, I mean, I ruin it with my own exhaustion or my own needing things to be in their place. And so as you were saying that, I'm like, oh, yes. But I feel like there's a part of me, because I want heaven to be here now and always for it to be easy, robs myself of the joy because I know the shoe is going to drop, so to speak. Yeah. And so are you guilty of it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think that's true. We don't have anything unspoiled. So even nature.
Yeah.
Even nature, there's
mosquitoes.
There's mosquitoes. There are plastic bags because we litter.
Yes.
There are people who flick cigarettes out. And, there's all kinds of things that we see that it's a tainted, which is itself a picture of the world that we live in. It's this place that has, it has this semblance of God in it, but tainted by sin. The ribbon of sin runs through the whole thing.
And I can't help but wonder, just think about your message last week, what you're saying, Tammy, if those tainted moments impact us more greatly, like frustrate us more because we're trying to create heaven on earth. Like we have the expectations upside down.
Yeah.
Like we've done it the wrong way. And so we're like, we want the power, like, cause somehow we think we can, and we live in a world where we have a lot of power to make things almost feel perfect. We want the power to make it perfect. And so when that fails, it's like, well, something must be going wrong instead of like, this world is hard and that's going to go wrong. And it just reminds me, like, perspective. I can be frustrated, but look to heaven, or I can just be frustrated that heaven's not here now. And I think that's part of what you were hitting at. Revelation is meant to help us do.
Yeah.
So we're not done because we're going back and we're going to look at the 7 churches after Easter, but you brought us to the end of Revelation, being in chapter 22. So we have covered a huge chunk. So I think it'd just be fun to spend some time talking about walking through Revelation. Was there anything that surprised you? Is there anything that you've learned? Just kind of spend some time talking about what we've done.
This series was really helpful for me, but it was learning every week. I told a few people in the midst of this series, I have never spent more time on individual messages in a series than I have during the Revelation series, because you have to have all of your ducks in a row to know what you're saying and why the alternative is not a good alternative, or but what about this? And I'm going to get questions about this, and I need to know. So I'm doing research, and then I'm researching the alternate pieces too, and then thinking through all that and like, do I really believe this? Do I really want to teach this? Can I say this with authority? Do I say, this week I said, hey, this is not the Apostle John saying this. This is Steve saying this. You end up with a lot of those kinds of moments. So it was a different kind of series
Okay.
for me. We started with Revelation 1, we skipped 2 and 3, and then we went 4 through 22.
Mhm.
So we'll wrap it up with the end of 22 this week, and then we're gonna have Easter, and then we're gonna go back to and talk about each of the 7 churches in turn, which will be really fun to do that. And that'll feel more, I think, a little bit more like a regular series than
Okay.
Revelation has felt.
Do you think those weeks when you're talking about the 7 churches probably are not going to require of you the same kind of intensity as chapters 4 through required of you? Is that true? Or
Probably. We'll
Okay.
see.
okay.
Huh.
Yeah. There's people want to know about the churches,
Mhm.
and people want a little historical background on the churches. So there's some of that research that's going to have to be done. And overall, yeah, I don't think it's going to be quite as it doesn't mesh together the way 4 through 22 meshes together, where it's like, well, wait a second. In week 3, you said that this is the symbol of this, and how come it's the symbol of this over here? That's the stuff that gets lost when you're doing a multi-week
Right.
series. To your question, Tammy, one of the things that surprised me, I guess I knew that Revelation was going to be, people have strong opinions about it.
Mhm.
I think I was surprised just through the whole series how much emotion there is wrapped up in Revelation. It seems to be that there are a number of folks who are more emotionally invested in what they believe Revelation means than even they want to admit. And so for all of the people who were like, I'm so glad I've never touched Revelation because I've always been afraid of it, and thanks for teaching it. And there are also, I think, folks out there who found themselves that, hey, I would say out loud, oh, this is not a big deal for me. I know this is not important. We don't have to believe this. But then as we started getting into it, they got emotional
Okay.
about, what do you mean that's not true?
Specifically about the millennial period, was that where you saw the most emotion?
I think there was some horsepower around that.
Okay.
There's some horsepower around the kind of the order of things, but also we've talked about this a little bit around Israel.
Mhm.
And, is Israel a nation that has a future as a nation, as a people, or do they not? And
Mhm.
there's a lot of horsepower on that. I think some of it has to do, you've alluded to this before, Tammy, has to do with what about the pastors and teachers from our past who we love,
Mhm.
who taught us this, who love Jesus.
Mhm.
Does that mean that they were wrong?
Mhm.
Because you're teaching us something else. And we're all wrong.
Mhm.
We're all wrong somewhere.
Mhm.
Nobody has perfect knowledge, or else we're God. So we are doing the best we can and have taught the best we can. But there's just disagreement.
Mhm.
I think one of the biggest takeaways for me, and I haven't said in Revelation in a long time, is how much Revelation has been used to answer the wrong questions. It's okay to ask about Israel. That's a good question to ask. It's okay to ask about, what do we do when certain events start happening, how we respond to them, and even to wonder about something about time. And
Mhm.
they're not bad questions to ask, but Revelation has been used to answer questions it was never intended to answer.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't realize how much that existed in my life, in past teachings I had received and studies I had done in the past, until we really dived into this series, as Steve said, because it's taken so much more study. And I actually went back and I was looking at our notes from the seminar that you and I went to. And one of the statements, as it was giving like a summary of the book of Revelation, I'm just going to read this because it triggered something for me today. It was trying to summarize the book, and it said, well, here's the point of the book. Because God is going to come and establish his purpose of judgment and salvation, God's people should worship God, living completely for him no matter the consequences. That absolutely is the point of Revelation. I don't know if anybody ever told me that. They were, again, answering what's a mark and what's the number and what's the dates. And
We were trying to crack codes.
yeah. And
Absolutely.
so I think for me, I feel like Revelation now has so much more meaning.
Mhm.
It's something I want to go back to because I need this reminder.
Yeah.
And when things are hard, to go back to this this teaching, this lesson for our lives, as it were, from the whole book. I get why people are struggling because of how much of my life was invested in that narrative, but I feel free from it. That's a beautiful feeling. I feel like I understand how to apply revelation to my life every day, not try to guess for some future. And that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's not a code to be cracked for our future. It was written to those 7 churches. And I think that, we said it every week. We said it multiple times. And I think that just takes a while to learn. I will say, I've been really proud of our church.
Me
really
too.
proud of the people in our church. And proud of the way they've processed this and dealt with this. And even those who have disagreed, I've been proud of the people who are willing to wade into the tough questions, the people who have been willing to ask questions. And there has not been any disagreement that has reached me anyway.
Me neither.
And I would say the exact same.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I am just so proud that people want truth. They don't want to win.
Yeah.
So they're looking for truth, you know, so that's a beautiful thing.
Praise God for that.
I mean, I was just, because I knew the question I was going to ask, I had just spent some time in some of the studies that I was in, and there's even 4 views on how to read Revelation. So you start there. Are you reading it? I don't even know. Is it preterist, futurist, historist, and idealist? It's like, yuck. Like, I just want to read it. I don't want to figure out like how I'm reading it, you know? So it's been really good for me. It's been very encouraging. At the end of the day, I want to be on Team Lamb. And so what does that mean right here, right now, today? How exciting that's going to be later. And so I think I have studied Revelation before, knowing it was the right thing to do, reading it, but kind of gritting my teeth and bearing it. Yeah. And so there's a freedom that's come for me.
I don't know if you guys felt this, but it seemed that Revelation often almost inspired a fear of what is trying to figure out what's happening, what's going to happen to me.
Yeah.
And
it was all about me.
Right. Yeah. And again, I think that's one of the other freeing things is I don't have to be afraid of all these symbols and what, this futuristic picture. It's not God. I mean, we're missing God in that. And so to find freedom from even fear of trying to interpret political and historical things happening in front of me, what a beautiful thing.
As I'm studying for this coming weekend, I'll tell you how confusing this book is. John, who's writing the book, admits in Revelation 22 that the angel who's showing him all of these things, John turns and falls down at the feet of the angel and begins to worship the angel.
It's like, whoops, get up, wrong person.
Yeah. John knows better.
Yeah.
John knows not to do that. Absolutely. But he's so overcome and confused by everything that the angel has to say, hey, do not do that. Don't worship me. Worship Christ. If it's confusing for John, who spent years with Jesus and who is the one seeing this and everything, don't you think it's going to be confusing for us that we're like worshiping the wrong thing at some point in time? Like, oh no, I've been putting all the emphasis on this. It's actually not about that at all. It's about this. I got it wrong. John's getting it wrong.
That's really good.
So how can we not also get it wrong?
So got it wrong and wasn't smited dead in the moment, but was encouraged to go the right way. And we serve that God.
Yeah.
So that's really good.
And that in general is far more the heart of our Heavenly Father than we give him credit for.
Well, I went through and tried to just grab your lesson for lives or your big idea just from what we have done. So can I just state those? Because I feel like that's a really good, I do my work.
I mean, that's cool.
I do my work.
Hear them all in a row.
So there you go. So our absolute allegiance belongs to Jesus as the exalted ruler over everything. So we saw that. Our absolute worship belongs to God and the Lamb forever because they are worthy, which is so good. The true source of conflict in the world is Satan, who is like a cornered snake. So that was really good. Even in the face of suffering, the church's mission is to be a witness for Christ. Members of Team Lamb serve as God's faithful witnesses, knowing his perfect justice will eventually be done. God's people should reject Babylon because one day God will reject it and those belonging to it. Our ultimate reward as believers is not an escape to heaven, but a new creation where God lives with us. That which was lost at the beginning is found at the end. And I won't give away your big idea for this week.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
You can do it.
Okay. The people of God live for the world to come.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make the book feel so scary, does it?
No.
When you look at it that way.
That was sweet to hear. Just
Yeah, that was I was like,
good
wow.
job. Glad you've spent all that time studying, guys.
Yeah.
So
What a great encouragement that we have this book. It's a gift. You know, Chris said week 1, when he was teaching this, he said, Revelation is my favorite book in the New Testament. And I thought, I wonder if that was like hyperbole, but now that we're done teaching it, or at least that section of it, and about to dive into the churches, I'm thinking, no, I get it. I get why. Its richness and depth is different than any other book in the New Testament.
I mean, Chase is not here to speak for himself, but I think I heard him say he went with you guys and came back and it loves Revelation now in a different way. Yeah. So,
and I will say, I've had a number of people tell me in the course of the series, this has become one of my favorite books, or now I love reading Revelation. And that doesn't happen very often with books. You know, you do 1 John or Ephesians or something. It's like, oh, good, I love Ephesians. So you're happy to have that book being taught, but not the same way. Not to go from, this is a book I do not touch. Most people don't touch Revelation, to suddenly, I want to read this book, and it's one of my favorites.
Well, and I would even add to that, I think I mentioned that at the very beginning, it was a book I avoided.
Yeah.
I just honestly,
which amazes me because you are such a strong guy and you're going to do it. So that's encouraging for the rest of us who have been avoiding it.
I mean, I think partially because there's so much controversy around it, you know, and I like to know absolute certainty, you know, that's part of my, you know, my strength. And I've just never felt like I could just say yes anytime I, you know, based on my own past in Revelation. So, you know, it felt like pointless arguments, honestly. And
a waste of breath.
Yeah. Like
okay.
we're not gonna know anyway, so why argue about this? And again, sitting this now, I love talking about it. You know, I listen to all those big ideas. I'm like, oh, that's an idea I want to talk about. That's a lesson that, oh man, it's going to come back up in a couple weeks for some conversation I'm having with somebody. And to be able to say, you know, Revelation, ... to move from avoidance to embracing just feels so good.
I mean, I literally just wanted to stay in chapter 4. Can we just stay in the throne room? And it's looking good here.
That's probably the one I never avoided. That's the one I really like, too.
I don't want to open those seals. Why?
Someday we will get to stay in the throne room.
Which is
as long as we want.
Yeah, which is awesome. And that was fun too this weekend, when even talking about the shape of the city and the Holy of Holies and not needing a temple and all. Like there's just I'm excited, like, you know, so.
Yeah. And in Israel on the Temple Mount, you know, where the temple sat there's now a Muslim temple there. I mean, essentially. And so there's a mosque that sits there, and they allow, Muslims allow a small group of people every day to come in and to walk around and see the mosque and, you know, whatever. And most of the people who go in are not interested in seeing the mosque so much as they are in, this is where the temple, this is where Solomon's temple sat. Here it is. It's right here is where it was.
Is there any remain that makes you think that was part of Solomon's temple, or is it all?
There's one.
Okay.
And it's interesting.
Okay.
And I have some pictures and some video of me there. It's like we might call it like a gazebo or a portico or something. It's just a very small little area. And it's got a roof over it. And I don't really even know why. I didn't hear all the reasoning why, but that's where they believe the Holy of Holies was, that spot.
Okay.
And so it's there, and it's marked in part so that Jewish people don't accidentally step on it, because they believe still, because they don't believe in Christ as a savior. So they would believe that God's presence is still there, and the Holy of Holies is still a place where God's Spirit dwells. And so they'd have to be careful of that. I made a beeline for it and went and stood there and just took pictures of myself in it. I shot a video for our church at the time, standing right there, just like the joy of standing in the Holy of Holies, and knowing all that had transpired and all that had happened. And when God designed the tabernacle, which was the temporary temple, the one that was a tent that could be taken from place to place, and then when David designed King David designed the temple itself, Solomon really built it, but David, it was his plan, and God designed it as a way of there being different levels of access to him. So everybody was welcome into a portion of the temple, and then there was an inner ring that only priests were allowed into, and then in the very center of it is the Holy of Holies, the central place where only the high priest one time a year was allowed to go and to offer atonement for the people. And so this is the story of Zechariah, and Zechariah going into the Holy of Holies, and a lot of what we know about it, actually, we know from that story. There's indications, and we don't see this in Scripture, but there's some indications from history that maybe they tied bells to the robes of the priests, and in some cases they tied a rope to the priest's ankle or wrist or something in case he did something to offend God in the Holy of Holies. How do you get him out of there?
Have a heart attack, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you can't get him out of there, and so they would have a way of pulling you out. So again, not in the Bible, but it's
history. Yeah, okay.
That happened, and so that place was the place where God's Spirit dwelled, and the Ark of the Covenant is there as God's footstool. So God's throne, metaphorically, nothing can contain God, but metaphorically, God's throne is there, and he rests his feet on the Ark of the Covenant. There are probably 5 or 6 different times in going around Israel where I got really, really emotional.
I want it to go someday.
Yeah, and that was one of them. Just standing there and recognizing what it was, and what it means.
So, I mean, I think that would be a takeaway for me too, is just seeing God's commitment to dwelling with his children. And so if we start in the Garden of Eden, he was there with Adam and Eve. We see he's there in a pillar of fire and a pillar of cloud. We know that he's in the temple.
Yeah.
We know that, or the tabernacle, we know that he was in the first temple, his manifest presence. I know that was removed in the exile. I've read different theories on whether or not God's manifest presence was in the Holy of Holies in that second
New
temple.
Testament, yeah.
In the New Testament. Whether or not his manifest presence was there, people believed there was a place to go meet God.
Right.
So that, and then Christ comes and he dwells with us, that we have a God who does that. And then we are given the gift of the Holy Spirit, and we as the church are the temple. And that someday soon in the scope of eternity are going to be with our God and in his presence. We have a God who's consistent and who loves deeply and strongly. And he's been fixing what was broken for a very long time. That's what Revelation is to me.
As we've said in the last 2 chapters, because they are often, people will say those are their favorite chapters, right? They go back to those and they read those. One of the things I've appreciated, as I've said in these, is not just how God is revealing a future, but I think he's saying, but I want this, I still want this with you now.
Yeah.
Like again, come back to Holy of Holies. What happened when Jesus died? What does the gospel tell us? It tells us the veil that separated the Holy Holies from the rest of the world was torn from top to bottom. God was saying, here I come. Like in my presence, like this thing you've been wanting that you kept coming to this room for is now being made available to you. if you will seek me, again, we go back to Old Testament language. I love the language, seek me and you will find me when you seek me with all your heart. And how often that we felt like they had to go somewhere to do that.
Yeah.
And then all we have to do is stop. And God's presence, the pillar of cloud or the garden, whatever it is right there with me.
Right.
And all I have to do is turn and just say, I'm here, God. Let's hang out. Let's talk. Like that. I feel like Revelation reminds us, like, I don't fully know it yet. It's like what 1 Corinthians talks about, what I see in a veiled dark mirror, like, but I still can see something. There's something still for us in that, but I can't wait to see it face to face. But I think the moments now get me really excited for face to face.
This has been really fun, guys. So I want you all to know that we will not record a podcast next week because you're going to be celebrating Christ's resurrection with your family, because most of our girl groups meet on Sundays, and so I'm assuming they won't be happening. So thank you for joining us, and thank you guys. Bye-bye.